number 1, the Delaware County Commissioner meeting for August 26, 2021 is now in session. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning. I'm Gary Merrill, President of the Board this year. To my left is Vice President Commissioner Barb Lewis, and to my right is fellow Commissioner Jeff Denton. Table to our left is vacant today.
That's right.
So, and our clerk Jennifer and Sarah. And Sarah, proceed.
Resolution number 21-781, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held August 23rd, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 21-781. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
We have no public comment this morning. Resolution number 21-782, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CMA PR 0825.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 21-782. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-783, in the matter of approving modification number 1 to the software license and related professional services agreement between the Delaware County Auditor's Office and Data Cloud Solutions, LLC.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Mike Ringel, Chief Deputy Auditor, Real Estate and Chief Compliance Officer with the Delaware County Auditor's Office. Thank you for putting this contract modification on your agenda today. It is simply a name change. So there was a contract that was signed between the County Auditor's Office and Data Cloud Solutions, which is a mobile assessing software that we're implementing in the office back in May of 2020. And since that time, Data Cloud Solutions has been acquired by the company Wolpert in order for our records to be pristine for paying the future invoices for the contract. We needed to modify the contract to reflect the acquisition.
Any questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 21-783. Mr. Bitton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you.
Resolution number 21-784, in the matter of approving intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Automatic Processing Board, the Board of Township Trustees of Genoa Township for information technology services to the township.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Lewis with the Auditor's Office. So what you have before you is an agreement that you've previously seen. There are a couple modifications to it. Primarily, the big reason it's before you is to add additional imaging services. If you recall, the last time I brought a intergovernmental agreement to you, we talked about whether it was fair for both entities, whether we were getting all of our dollars back and that sort of thing. And one of the comments I made was that we will have to look at a new fee schedule going forward if a township were to decide to do document imaging and take advantage of that service. So that's what this agreement is in front of you. There is a fee increase. It's a fee that Administrator Wise and Auditor Keitza and I discussed, and we feel it's appropriate on both ends. Working with Eric, we did put a new term in there that basically it'll renew for 1 year, and then after that we do renew. It needs to be a mutual agreement, but the cost sharing does have to be reevaluated at that time. It's just not an auto renew at that 2nd year mark. You'll also note that in there is a storage limitation on the amount of storage that they can use for the document imaging, so that if it is such an astronomical project that takes up a lot of space, and as you know, storage is expensive, then we would go back and reevaluate that at that time.
Well, I appreciate your comments about making sure we're recovering our costs. So that's a question I think we typically ask. So thank you very much for doing that.
And updating it, because costs change every year, so good to see.
And that's why it's here.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Just that they're very excited about it, and it'll be a great help to the township. It's a great service that you're providing, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the Commissioner's very excited about these kinds of arrangements, shared services, just that making sure we recover the costs, so it's the benefit of all the taxpayers, and glad to hear that we're moving down that road. No other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 21-784. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you.
Resolution number 21-785, in the matter of approving a professional services agreement with Brown and Caldwell for SCADA services for the North Star and Lower Scioto Water Reclamation Facilities SCADA upgrades.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag, Director of Environmental Services. So this is for upgrades to our SCADA system at both North Star and Lower Scioto. Both of these have outdated systems that were installed back when the plants were originally constructed. We're actually working on upgrading all of our treatment plants to VT SCADA, which is part of this contract. We have a 6-month schedule, and the contract value is $146,680 for both plants combined.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 21-785. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 21-786, in the matter of approving change order number 2 to the agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Peterson Construction Company for progressive design build services for the Olentangy Environmental Control Center Headworks and Aeration Upgrades Project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
So I sent you an email. We have identified additional improvements through that progressive design build process. The contractor insight that we've gained through the process has proved to be very valuable. A few of those upgrades that we're going to add are the odor control at the screen building. We're looking at clarifier box splitter gates, and then also converting some north tanks to equalization. These are all going to save us money in the future, and basically a good example is we're sitting in the meetings with the contractor, and they identified that, hey, we're going to be doing a lot of bypass pumping, which is very expensive, around this splitter box already. So if you have failing gates, now's the time to go ahead and replace them, versus coming back and paying for that bypass pumping a second time down the road within the next couple of years, and replacing those when they do in fact fail, which is going to be in the near term. So those are kind of some of the contractor, viewpoints that we're getting that are definitely going to save us some money in the future. So the total cost on this change order is $177,500. And we do expect to have one additional change order once we identify what the improvements are going to be to the tertiary filters as well as the solids building. We're still working through deciding what those look like and what the cost will be.
Questions or comments?
The explanations that you gave us were very detailed and very, very helpful on this, and I can't agree more. I mean, this is very, spend the money up front, but you're going to really save the money.
Right, and it's only going to reduce the amount that we have to spend on phase 2 in the future, or even just push out further when we actually need those improvements, especially like this equalization upgrade. This will give us 900,000 gallons of equalization instead of building 1 million gallons out on the north field in the near term. So that may give us another 5 years of operating the way that we are currently just by using the existing tankage.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
What's the timeline on the big project at Olentangy?
They plan on starting construction in the spring. So
Okay.
right now we're at 30% design. We're continuing to work through those additional, the filters and the solids, which are the additional services that we're going to be adding on. So those would probably go forward like 6 months later, or maybe even 9 months later as far as construction goes. But yeah, they plan on starting to order equipment in the near term. This is kind of some of the benefits of this progressive design build process is we already have a contractor on board. They're looking at equipment costs and, going through that selection process now versus waiting for the bids to open and looking at them on bid day. So we will start ordering equipment soon, and within 6 months or so, be breaking ground.
I drive up and down Old State a lot, and the Peterson project there, that's the pump station, right?
Right, yeah, that's the
How's that coming along?
Peach Blow pump station. They actually plan to be finished before the end of this year.
Okay.
I kind of am surprised about the quick turnaround on that because it still looks like a really big hole.
It is a big hole.
But they're making the last lift right now to bring it up to grade, and then it'll be starting to backfill, and then they'll be building the building on top.
Oh,
So, yeah, they're moving pretty quickly.
Good.
yeah.
Vote.
Vote on motion 21-786. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Thanks.
Thank you, Tiffany.
I believe we have, under other business, we have a resolution as well.
We do, sorry, let me find that bad boy. Resolution number 21-787, in the matter of accepting an allotment of tickets for the Delaware County Fair from the Delaware County Agricultural Society.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. It's a pleasure to return to you after 2 years with this resolution to accept the tickets that we received for the grandstand at the Delaware County Fair. And we will be launching our lottery on Monday for the employees for those tickets, and that you yourselves will not be using, and we recommend your approval.
Questions or comments?
I agree. It's great to have the jug back with the stands, or with the fans in the stands for this year. It was much less exciting last year. But,
I think we're all looking forward to it.
yeah.
No other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 21-787. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
That brings us to, we have a hearing at 10 o'clock, so we have a little time, but do we have any observations from Mr. Benton? I think I'll start with you today.
Let's see, last week I went to the Chambers open house at the old jail, and they had some interesting, they had a little fact sheet, which was interesting. Some of the things that they put in this fact sheet was the county jail and sheriff's residence built in 1878 by architect David Gibbs, famous prison architect, cost of $25,000. Just
What year was that?
1878. And this, at the time, this was a very progressive facility. By putting the sheriff and his family and the prisoners and everybody all together, it was...
One happy family, huh?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
But there were 40 county sheriffs that called that building home over the 100 and some years.
Oh, my gosh.
And Sheriff William Lavery was the last one to operate it, and he ended his home there in 1992 when the jail was moved. But anyway, again, it was, and President Hayes had a big role in getting this prison reform done. But so anyway, it was, again, it's great to see. They're very excited. The Chamber's very excited. The Historical Society is very, very excited to see it move along. In fact, at the Land Bank meeting yesterday, we did receive authorization to move forward with the proposed changes to the deed and get that done. And Eric, I need to talk to you about doing the lease between the appellate court, or the county, and the Historical Society for the appellate court judge, so we need to get that done. Had our investment committee meeting this morning. Well, Land Bank, also, we're moving forward on Sunny V, moving forward on the jail, the Columbus Avenue lot that we've been working on. So there's stuff happening, and so again, it's good. The Land Bank's getting things done, and that's good to see. Investment committee meeting this morning. Again, the investment portfolio is fine. We had a good discussion on policy changes that we need to do in the policy, the investment policy that the investment advisory committee uses to oversee the investment portfolio. And there's some positive things we need to do. We need to, with an more active management approach to investing. There's some things we need to put into that policy in terms of oversight, but I'm sure Rick Carr was there this morning. He has some good ideas, and they've already presented some things. So we'll work on that and hopefully have some changes maybe in October. But so again, good stuff. So that's all I got.
Mr. Lewis.
Yeah, with the investment committee, we set up a working group to talk about various items, and it was, I think it's really going to be good because we're going to bring in some professionals too, and then Jeff will work with Rick Carr on getting that group together, and that way we can have a lot of discussion before we actually meet in October. So happy with that, moving ahead on that. And we received a message from CCAO last week, our Ohio County Commissioners Association, that that by Thursday of this week, which was last week, 142 out of 143 litigating political subdivisions in Ohio have signed on to the proposed opioid settlement agreement. And so that means that, and they needed 95% of these subdivisions to sign on before moving forward with the settlement. And quoting from our CCAO memo, the proposed settlement with Ohio and its local governments could total more than $800 million, although the distributors would need to agree to the final terms. If agreed to, approximately 30% of the funds would go to local governments, 15% to the state, and the remainder would flow to a foundation to fund further treatment and prevention programs. So this is a huge step, and very, very pleased that, I don't know who the one holdout was, but 142 out of 143 is phenomenal. So that's great. We will benefit from this. And that's all I have.
Okay, very well. I just have two minor things. Regional planning is tonight, so look forward to that. And of course, I have a course of board meeting tomorrow downtown at 10 o'clock, so I'll be participating in that as well. It's about 10 till. I don't know that we gain a lot by going to executive and coming right out. I think without objection, I'm going to suggest we recess until 10 o'clock for the hearing. We're now in recess until 10 o'clock.